Hi guys, welcome back to Jane Game here. Today I'm doing a comparison video of some darker kids series books, the Wings of Fire one and Warrior Cats ones. I was inspired by this by watching another video about the Wings of Fire dark parts of it. But I wanted to do this comparison video because I've always been a fan of Wings of Fire, but then I got introduced to the Warrior Cats by, would I say a friend? I'll probably say classmate of mine. Yeah. Anyway, I got introduced to the Warrior Cats by a classmate. And I like it, but there is some dark parts in here. So I was going to do the comparison of the first arc of the Warrior Cats and the first arc of the Wings of Fire to see which one is, in the end, actually darker, and to just analyze it, I guess. So, oh, by the way, before we continue, I don't like spoiling books for anybody. If you click on this video because it caught your attention, but you have not read these books or are planning to read these books yet, then don't watch my video because I don't want to spoil this for you guys. I hate when people spoil stuff for me. But if you have read these before or just absolutely don't care, go ahead. So here we are. We're going to begin. That was my warning. First one, we're going to start with the Warrior Cats. We're going to start with Warrior Cats Book 1, Into the Wild. So it's basically about this kitty pet named Firestar, and the clans, wild cat clans, are caught in a physical and political rivalry where cats must follow the mandatory rules of dead cats who could care less about them, and in so causing brutal vicious deaths of clan members. So, okay, it doesn't sound too bad, right? I mean, it's one thing that's in common with the Wings of Fire, caught in a war, and the Dragonites have to save it. Not that bad, right? Well, I think it gets worse from here. From what I've seen, it does get worse. Then we go on to book 2, where Firestar is a part of the clan now. And they're accepting him as a kitty pet. Ice and Fire. Same as the first one. It's literally just the same as the first as Into the Wild. But then it also has dictatorship, banishment of rightful territory owners, and racism of other cats. Like racism of rogues, the other clans, and kitty pets like Firestar. So that's totally what we want our kids. It's being taught, right? I mean, we're so sensitive to racism, and yet, never mind. Okay, we go on to Forest of Secrets. A Forest of Secrets is same as the first one, but it has brutal murdering, racism, and breaking their own sovereign laws. Also, pure hatred to one another. I mean, they're breaking their own laws set up by StarClan, and you cannot break the will of StarClan, otherwise it's dishonor for you all. Getting a Mulan theme going on here. But they're breaking the laws, kind of like doing the wrong thing for the right reason.
Did I falsely imprison those animals? Well, yes, I did. It was a classic doing the wrong thing for the right reason kind of a deal.
So, I guess you could consider that, I guess some people could consider that okay because they're doing it for the right reason, but still, Tiger Star, who is the bad guy in this, and he's breaking the laws, and they banish him. But then, when Firestar, who's Fireclaw, I think, at the moment, in this book, when he breaks the laws, it's okay. Yeah.
When you guys tried to destroy the world, this is an error in judgment. But when it's one of us, just lock them up, throw away the key.
So, there's Rising Storm. Rising Storm. Also with depression, which causes the leader, Blue Star, to abandon her position, making tensions rise because, we know with the stories, the way they work, that Firestar is probably going to be the leader. who is still everyone thinks of as a kitty pet, which is going to lead to more tensions because nobody likes kitty pets because they actually appreciate when someone gives them food. But then there's also traces of murder and exile. Have we learned from books and movies that when you don't kill the character, if you exile them, they will come back and make things worse? I mean, come on. We have seen so many movies where there's been a bad guy. You don't kill him, you execute. You you don't kill them, you don't execute them, you exile them. Then what do? They come back and cause more evil mischief. Tai Lung, he's a cat. He came back and nearly killed Shifu and took over the Jade Palace.
I'm glad Shifu sent you. I was beginning to think I'd been forgotten. Fly back there and tell them the real Dragon Warrior is coming home.
Okay. And then a dangerous path is the next one. Due to the hatred and revenge due to exile, Tiger Star leaves a pack of dogs to try and create genocide. Wow. This is exactly what I was talking about. I mean, genocide, that's something else. And then Blue Star gets dementia from her depression. I mean, I get dementia is a real condition, but I don't know how old she was. I don't think she was not an elder. She was not in the elder's den. So it's like, come on. Are you really going to get that depressed that you actually get dementia? Come on, it's... Okay. And due to Blue Star's dementia, she's blaming other cats, and those cats are blaming other clans, and cats of non-guilty parties, making more problems for the other clans. Honestly, somebody just put her in a mental ward. Okay. And then there's the darkest hour. Firestar finally becomes the actual leader after everything goes to shambles. It's about time, Firestar. And there's death by battles, actual poisoning, which is sabotage there, more exile, holding mothers and babies as prisoners, killing kids. That is so low. It's one thing to kill, but to kill newborn babies and kids, that is just sick. But then there's the final battle, which many cats die, like quarter of each clan's cats die, but then everything goes back to normal. Yippee! Everything's okay. So that was the dark part of Warriors. Their cats for the first arc. I noticed one thing. I've read pretty much all of the Warrior Cats books except the sideline ones. And I noticed at the beginning there's always tension. There's never a peaceful era. It's always tension. But then it goes on and gets worse and worse and worse until finally, boom, problem is solved and everything's back to an okay life. What the heck? That's not how it works. Ugh. Yeah. I don't know what to think about this one. I mean, I like the books, but this is just dark to a whole level. And what's crazy is that this is kids' books. I believe they write the dark themes into it. That way adults are more interested in it. But there are some parts you just don't have to go that far. You don't have to go that deep into it. Especially since books are designed to take you away from the modern world. I mean, I don't know. So far, I feel like this has the darker version of it. Now we go on to Wings of Fire, which I'm not being biased, but okay, I'm being biased because I think it's the best series out there, but it does have some dark parts. So we're gonna do the first arc, So we do the first one, which is the Wings of Fire, the Dragonite Prophecy. Like the beginning, like the warrior cats, there's a raging war. Instead of few hundred dead, there are thousands dead. But then the Dragonettes of Destiny will go and save them all with a forced life. They have a forced life because they were kidnapped from their parents to do this prophecy. They're beaten and abused by the horrible guardians, and then they eventually escape. Honestly, kind of like a prison Alcatraz kind of way. Like I could just see the Mission Impossible music playing in the background. But and they are captured by a psychotic queen, Queen of the Skywings, Scarlet, who forces dragons to fight to the death. And each death I noticed in the Wings of Fire books, especially in the graphic novels, emphasis on the graphic part, is very well described. But there's mass child murdering and abusing, and even selling their own children. Like Clay's mom sold her son Clay. I mean, for 2 cows. Come on. She is lower than the scum of the earth. She's up there with poop. No, she's below poop. That's. She makes me mad. But we go on to the next book because I can't think about this anymore. Wings of Fire, The Lost Heir. There's false imprisonment by Queen Coral, who is Tsunami's mother, because after they go away from the Mud Kingdom after learning the disturbing truth about Clay's mother, but hey, at least Clay found some siblings that actually care about him. But then, due to that, at their second oldest son, Ree, gets insecurities because apparently he's not supposed to be the big wings, and yeah, there's a lot of insecurity in this book. But basically, they head over to Kingdom of the Sea. They meet Riptide, and they eventually go to the palace, where they meet Queen Coral, who is very paranoid. And she imprisons the Dragonettes, claiming that they keep them safe from the other Sea Wings. Total lie in the face. And then there's unhealthy paranoia and social shaming from Queen Coral. And because this queen is so paranoid, she has her daughter, Anemone, who is Tsunami's sister, in a literal harness that's connected to her. Because all of her daughters kept dying. More child murdering. I mean murdering in the egg, which is basically kind of like abortion in a way. I could see the comments now about this. Okay, but back to it. There's a social shaming, there's a paranoia, but then there's a hidden murderer, like I said, who was killing the children. And the children, anemones, having to kill for themselves, because there's a sleaze bag of the earth called Whirlpool. Not my fish Whirlpool, but the Whirlpool in the book. And Anemone has to kill them in order. The little Dragonite, who's like 2 to 3 years old, has to kill this adult sleaze bag, because otherwise Tsunami and Anemone will be in danger. So, I'm starting. I've never thought of these books this way before, but there is. Actually, I'm just gonna move on to the next one. There's the Wings of Fire, the Hidden Kingdom. There's another mystery murderer and kidnapper of adults and children kidnapping the Rainwings. There's a worthless government that has, I don't know how many queens, and the only good one is Grandeur, in a way. And uninvolved citizens that won't do anything to help as well. And honestly, that's pretty much all I could get. Oh, well, I just thought there is also attempt assassination as well. But the assassin actually turns out to be a real charmer, which makes Glory mad. But honestly, out of the Wings of Fire books and out of the Warcats books, that one's actually kind of mellow. But still not great. Then Wings of Fire, The Dark Secret. There's imprisonment of the kidnapped dragons and brutal torture and experimentation on them. There's mass murder of dragons from the Nightwings, or being getting thrown or accidentally fall into lava due to the Nightwings living in a sucky home. And then there's a complete lie of the whole prophecy of war because it was made by the Nightwings, and which makes the Dragonite of Destiny feel insecure, and the other ones are like, you know what? And we're fine. But then Sunny's like, no, the prophecy is important, which leads us to our Wings of Fire, the brightest night. Sunny is feeling insecure, and then she gets kidnapped by the Nightwings, and then they're going to try and sell her for an army. So she ends up running away again, and she ran away once with the other Dragonites, and that's how they got captured, and now she's running away again on her own. There's gruesome murder slash arson, and then in the Scorpion Den, there's arson on a child orphanage. I mean, I guess if you want to be super sympathetic, the dragon who made the arson on the orphanage was just trying to do this to get back to his family, but come on, that is a real sleazebag move. And then there's the taxidermy and embalming of odd lizards and dragons in Burns' Weirdling Tower. Oh, it just makes me sick thinking about it. Literally gets shivers. I mean, it's so disturbing. It's just so disturbing. And then finally they create a peace meeting between all of the tribes. We're going to meet at Burnt Stronghold to figure out who would be the next queen. And of course, Blister, a betrayal at the peace meeting, and because she released this Dragonbite Viper, which is the only viper that kills dragons, everyone's fleeing in panic. Clay nearly dies, and honestly, if she had more than one snake, she could create near genocide of a ton of dragons. Because there's no cure for the dragon bite. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I never thought of the Wings of Fire books like this, but seeing this, it honestly makes me feel a little sick. I'm probably not going to look at these books the same way again, but a lot of it just, it's sickening to think about it. I mean, the authors of the Warrior Cats books and the Wings of Fire books, even though they're adding these elements to make it all people engaging, this is mainly engaged for children. I mean, these are scholastic books. But you gotta put that in mind if you... But this is really good. I would definitely say between the first arc of Warrior Cats and the first arc of Wings of Fire, that Wings of Fire is a lot more... There is a lot more... I'd probably say, maybe not gruesome, but like wholesome? Like, one thing that's a major difference between the Warrior Cats and the Wings of Fire books I read is that there's a glimmer of hope with the Wings of Fire, and there's humor where there's all these prophetic dreams, and like, honestly, the Warrior Cats is very confusing. I have gotten to like the Warrior Cats books, but like there's barely any hope in there, and honestly, I feel like they're too dependent on StarClan. Like, if it wasn't for StarClan giving out these prophetic dreams, literally everything would be shambles and all the cats would be dead. It's like almost like a dependence that I keep seeing in the books. Honestly, I was glad when they I was kind of glad when they ditched StarClan. I mean, that's way in the later books, but still. Well, that's pretty much my video for today. If you got your senses, you got your, like, happiness of these books ruined by my video, I am sorry about that. I kind of feel the same way, but I still really like Wings of Fire. Warrior Cats, I'm not sure anymore. But that was my video for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys out there.